Welcome to My Skeptical Sister.
I'm Megan, the skeptical one.
I'm Erin, the believer.
Well, so was your day as fun as mine going to a 4-year-old birthday party?
No.
It wasn't, because mine was actually pretty epic. As far as birthday parties go,
Okay.
it was pretty amazing.
Well, tell me about it.
I mean, I don't know how exciting it is for our listeners to hear, except for I guess I shouldn't say his name, but the child's moms listened to this. And so I'll just tell them they put on an epic party. Like, it was science themed. And it was like, we went in, there's like dry ice,
Oh my gosh,
like overflowing the snack table. And then the snacks were all like, make your own molecules. And I'm like, okay, this is where two moms come in handy. Because I'm like, one mom got to put all that on. No offense, men, but come on. Let's get real. A dad's not. So, you got two moms like, oh yeah, we got, and they had like science experiments and all these amazing things. And I was like, oh, their son. I'm like, he is living the best life. Got two moms that got their shit together.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And my day was not quite that exciting, but I did have all my kids. It was like the trifecta.
Oh.
All three kids got invited to spend the night. We set up a rule during this pandemic. Once things started to calm down a little bit and parents started getting vaccinated, that they could pick one friend each to spend the night with.
Right.
And all three lined up.
That is like seeing a unicorn.
I know.
Like, it never happened.
It was the dream. It was so nice.
What did you do with your guilt-free? That's the thing. That was a guilt-free.
I know.
That never happens. Like, when you ask somebody to watch your kids, you always had that like,
oh, I hope they're being so good.
Yeah, oh no, but these people asked for your child to come over to entertain their child. There was a purpose for your child to be there. Oh, I cannot wait till we get to sleepover age.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. We did nothing exciting. We picked up Cheesecake Factory because Kevin had a gift card for it.
I thought you were saying a hankering for cheesecake.
We had a gift card. It was delicious. And then we watched some real dumb movie on HBO Max, but it was great.
Nice.
And then this morning I woke up and my house was still clean from what I picked up yesterday.
That's the best. I probably cleaned my house 20 times today, and I was only there for like an hour. But I feel like within that hour, it was like, how come every time I get done with one room, I walk in? It's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. The key is to hurry up and clean, get everybody out, and don't come back until you go to bed.
Until they're 18.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this morning was funny because we were sitting around in our beautifully clean house, and I was talking to Kevin, and I sent a message because the two little girls, I lined this up beautifully. Our sister.
So wait, let me ask you this. Did you manipulate this just a hair to get this perfect unicorn to show up?
Now listen, I have known the older sister of this little trio since she was in kindergarten with Nora. And she's always been one of my favorites. If there are other parents listening, all your kids are my favorite. But
all of them.
She is like, oh, she's a dream. I can always count on her to be doing exactly what I've told her to do. If I need anything cleaned up, I'm like, hey, can you get this? She's always like, yes, okay. Like, she's so excited. I love her. And then she had a little sister who I didn't know at the beginning of the time that I wanted Nora to be her best friend. She's got a little sister who perfectly lines up in age with Penelope.
Sweet.
Her little sister is a spitfire, but she's also hilarious, and I love her. And then through this, I've gotten to know their mom, and their mom is hilarious too. So it worked out. It might have started manipulative, but now,
it's lining up just perfectly for both of you.
That's right.
You're both getting rid of it. Too bad, their mom can't say, oh, about either of your kids.
What are you trying to say? You're not wrong, but what are you trying to say?
I'm just kidding. I'm just thinking, at first I thought about your youngest. Well, she's kind of a spitfire. So you're putting two spitfires together.
Yeah, it's true.
That's like fireworks right there. But really, Nora, I think she probably is like a perfect little angel for anybody else other than you.
Right.
So that she probably thinks that about. And you know what? Her oldest probably same way. So
I can't imagine, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so we're sitting there this morning, and I wake up, I get my coffee, and I send a message. Did everybody survive? Like, haha, to the mom. And 20 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass.
Like, oh shit.
40 minutes pass. I'm like, I was kidding. Now I'm a little nervous.
You should have sent back, did at least my favorite one survive?
And of course, I'm talking about her oldest. No, I'm just
Yeah, right. And can I have her?
That's hilarious. Then I was thinking, like, oh, that's weird that it's taken this long to respond, but whatever. My second thought is, what if there was some horrible tragedy?
Oh no.
And then not only do I have to suffer the loss of my children, the police will definitely suspect me because my last text to her said, "Did everyone survive?"
Yeah, did everyone survive the horrible tragedy that I already knew about?
That I set up.
That is funny because I do that a lot of times when I'll just send. I mean, I can't even think of a specific example except for the thought process goes like, if somebody read that out of context,
Oh yeah.
they would totally think I'm about to murder my husband or I already have murdered my husband and I'm trying to cover it up or whatever,
Yeah.
So that is funny. It reminds me of that documentary about the husband who really did murder his. Did you watch that? Oh, gosh.
I don't know. Is that the one you told me I had to watch and I never did?
Yes, and it's horrible, but
I want to.
they actually show the text messages like between the two.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wild. I mean,
now you got to tell me what it is. Do you not know what it is?
I'll look it up. It's like The Family Next Door. I think that's what it's called.
Oh,
The Family Next Door on Netflix.
Yes, you did tell me. I watched that one before.
If you guys like true crime, which I feel like that's kind of parallel to our podcast, so many of you probably do.
But it is heavy.
Man, it's definitely very heavy. But every time I send it, after I watched that, I was like, I need to really, not that I'm planning on murdering my husband, but I'm like, if a tragic accident happened, or even the other way around, like even if I somehow like slipped in the bathroom and somehow broke my neck and it looked a little bit suspicious, I'm like, that would be horrible if he sent some like joking text or whatever that got taken out of context. I'm like, you never know how.
I know. I've had that mindset ever since reading Gone Girl.
Oh, Gone Girl, so good. I don't read, so the movie was so, I don't know about the book.
The movie was also. I mean, the movie and the book parallel. They were
Really?
so good. That was one of the best movie to books.
Nice.
It was a really good
one.
one.
Well then let's just go ahead and say I read the book then.
There you go. It was so good.
Wow. Yeah.
And that whole manipulation, because spoiler, she was setting up.
Yes.
So
and like how easy it is. If you don't know you're being set up, I mean, you just kind of putty in the hands, I'm not like trying to tell anybody how to set somebody else up, but I mean,
I'm also not telling you to commit murder on 4th of July. I always think fireworks would be the best.
Oh yeah.
No one.
I'm like, where have I heard that before? I'm like,
you
say it every 4th of July.
Every time there are fireworks, I'm like, perfect night for murder. I mean, don't do it, but it's a perfect cover.
But if you're gonna, tell the cops that it was Erin that gave you that idea. And maybe she could get a little bit of that.
No. I'm telling you now, do not do it and don't sue me.
That's hilarious.
Don't come after me.
Yeah, don't come after her. That's true, because without her, I wouldn't have this podcast.
Oh, that's why?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay. Lovely. Great.
Lovely drink. Too funny. Well, okay. So enough with this banter.
Okay.
I have a long story tonight. It's cute. It's good. I mean, it's not cute. It's very spooky.
I'm fully convinced.
I thought I just liked her writing. I thought it was cute, and you kind of know her, so let me get it pulled up.
Okay.
Hey, Aaron and Megan. Aaron, I hope you remember me. And in parentheses, Brooke's friend Chelsea. Brooke was in our Cryptids and Coffee episode.
Yeah.
We ever going to do another one of those? We need to do another one of those.
I know we need to. I'm just not good at research. But I
don't think it just falls on you. We just both need to buckle down and do it. But we've got some
summer's coming up.
After the live show.
Okay.
Let's make that our goal. Because right now it's kind of live show.
Right.
Okay. So after that, it's like we're having a wedding. It's like after the wedding is done, we'll relax and we'll focus on the next project. Okay. Anyway, Brooke was in our Cryptids and Coffee episode, actually the first one that we ever did. So if you haven't listened to that yet, you can go back and hear Brooke firsthand. But Brooke is Aaron's best friend.
And Chad's little sister.
Yes, and Chad that we mention all the time, his little sister. Aaron, I hope you remember me. Brooke's friend Chelsea Gill. Well, she gave it. I almost said
it. Chelsea Gill.
Chelsea Gill.
I do remember Chelsea.
Okay.
She was another bridesmaid in the wedding.
Well, her name starts with a G sound. You all go out there and look out for Chelsea G and see if you can figure out who she is. And fellow bridesmaid in her wedding. I'm not sure if I have ever met Megan, but I'm guessing I probably did at Brooke's wedding. Girl, if you did, I don't know, because that was a fun wedding. We had a good time at that wedding. Or possibly their wedding shower. Either way, I feel like I should have run into her and with Chad and Brooke at some point during their shenanigans in old Louisville. I'm a huge fan, and listening to y'all reminds me of hanging with Brooke and Chad, actually. They have a similar witty banter, cadence, and of course, Oldham County accent.
That's hilarious. What's an Oldham County accent?
I guess it's more country than Louisville, but I'm like, you said y'all throughout this whole email. I mean, I'm just teasing, Chelsea. I say y'all all the time. I have honestly been binge listening to the podcast the last few days while I hang wallpaper at my new home in South Carolina.
Oh,
Y'all are so witty, and I am so intrigued by all these stories. I am not sure where I fall on the scale of skeptic to believer, but I do love a good ghost story. Same, girl.
yep.
I mean, I know where I fall. I'm a true skeptic, but I love a good ghost story. I don't, however, actually like to be scared, though. I hate haunted houses.
Oh, not me.
Yeah, not me. Give me all haunted houses for days. And she probably wouldn't hate them if she would go with you, because
Shut up.
you are so funny.
I am really bad at being scared, but boy, do I love it.
Yeah, me too. And scary movies, to be honest. I think I like the historical, mysterious side of the stories as opposed to the feeling of being frightened, which I could get that. I kind of feel like that's how Paula is that night of the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's how Paula is. She likes to hear the history. She likes the spooky.
Yeah, but she likes
story.
to go to the adventure.
That's true. Quick side note, we did our Patreon, and Paula, afterwards we were all talking, and Paula was explaining to us, she's one of our Patreons, explaining to us that she goes ghost hunting, but she was like so scared during this movie, and she's like, don't pick a really, really scary one. I'm like, you go to the actual sites, which kind of furthers my thing. That's because deep down, Paula, you know they don't exist. Girl.
Oh, come on.
Okay. she's gonna come back. She'll talk about a Spitfire. That Paula, she'll come back at me. Okay. Maybe it's a mashup of my intrigue of history and love of crime shows. Either way, I have one experience in my life that I cannot explain and would love to share with y'all.
Ooh.
Y'all.
Yeah,
Just
you know
making
what's
fun of
funny?
Oldham County.
I don't think I say y'all very much. I say you all a lot.
I don't think I write it often,
I don't think I say it
but
often.
I say y'all.
I say,
I say y'all.
what are y'all doing? I say you all the time.
You just said, what are y'all doing?
What are y'all? You all. I say it real fast.
It sounds a lot like y'all.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The summer between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I worked at an island in between the northern and southern peninsula of Michigan.
Okay.
The island is called, and I'm so glad she put the pronunciation in here, because I was going to say Mackinac. And I was like, that's so cute. Mackinac.
Mackinac Island.
Because it's Mackinac. Mackinac.
He said that so fast. I cannot.
Mack.
Okay.
Mac.
Mac.
INNAC. Mackinac.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I would have said. But she said pronounced Mackinac. So
Oh,
the
wow.
AC is, it
Just
turns into an all at the end for some weird reason, because our language is bizarre. The island is called Mackinac Island. Wikipedia link here. She's so cute. Like, she thinks we're really going to go research this. But I will say, we will post the Wikipedia link, because this place does sound amazing.
Okay.
And so if you're not just a dreamer, you're a doer, and you're like, no, I really do want to go there. Good on you. Because for me, I'm always just dreaming about it and never look up the Wikipedia link. But we'll post it. And it is by far one of my favorite places in America. Vehicles are prohibited on the island, and you have to take a ferry over to access it. Main Street is a step back in time, where foot traffic, bicycles, horse and carriages are the main mode of transportation, and sailing, nature, shopping, and gourmet dining are the main attractions.
Oh my gosh. Can we just go there to vacation?
I was going to say, can we just get them to sponsor us?
Oh,
the whole
come
island.
on,
The whole
Mackinac.
island. We will actually relocate in the summers
Okay.
and just do the podcast from there.
Let's start with a tour there. Maybe that'll get us in the door.
Sure. Just start small and work our way in. Okay, I like it. Fudge, to be exact, is it's getting better and better. Fudge, to be exact, is really their claim to fame and can be found on every corner in every shop and hotel. The culinary scene there is unreal, and I was employed as a waitress for the entire summer. The island has very few permanent residents, less than 500 to be exact, but the population swells to over 15,000 per day during the summer months.
Holy moly.
Right. That's wild, isn't
So
it?
let's go during the winter months. I don't want to go with all those people.
Yeah, but I guess like I would imagine it's probably like those shops and everything, they probably shut down.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that doesn't happen during the wintertime. It is apparently very haunted, something I was not necessarily aware of until I got there. And
Too
home,
late.
yeah, too late. You're there, girl. Just keep eating that fudge. I'm so scared, but this fudge is so good. Okay. And home to many historical sites, including Revolutionary War Fort and Native American battleground / burial sites. I moved into an all-girls staff boarding house on Main Street located above one of the many Mary's candy shops on the island. The building was 3 stories, and then in parentheses, fudge shop on the first floor and staff boarding on the second and third floor, and housed probably 25 to 35 seasonal female employees throughout the busy season.
Huh.
I mean, that is like
cool.
Isn't that cool? That's like for real, the real world. Like get 25, 35 people together, never seen each other before.
Yeah. All girls. I mean, that's like,
yeah, whoa.
could be a lot of fun.
Could be a lot of drama.
Could be.
Not saying the girls are drama. I'm just saying it's got potential. Okay. My room was on the 3rd floor, and I shared it with my roommate, Rachel. We heard ghost stories about other buildings and places on the island throughout our stay, but didn't think much of it. Apparently, this house has always been an all-girls boarding house, and in the past was given the nickname the Virgin House.
Yeah. Nice dreams.
Yeah, I was like, those girls aren't all virgins. I mean, maybe 1 or 2, but come on now. We got fudge in every corner.
Oh my gosh. What does that mean? That seems
I was
weird
just
and
thinking,
dirty.
like, you're giving fudge to these ladies. I'm like, oh, you're such a charmer. And then things would happen. I mean, I
So
like
now
fudge.
we know what you're.
You know the way to my heart.
If anybody
It
wants
is
to seduce Megan,
It's
bring fudge.
Okay. We did indeed have strict rules about men being in our rooms and or the building after a certain time in the evening, and our house mom enforced them strictly. Shortly after we moved in, the house mother would tell us about doors she locked the night before being wide open the next day when she did her morning rounds. The doors were normally to a storage closet, pantry, or broom closet, so we didn't really think much of it. Honestly, the lady was somewhat crazy and not well liked, so we kind of assumed people were just playing a prank on her, or she was kind of losing it. Later in the summer, though, Rachel and I had an experience that made us question our initial assumption. We were both sleeping, and from what I can remember, it was a normal weeknight, and we were most likely in bed asleep between 11 p.m. and 12 p.m. And like, we were those virgin girls. We went to bed at 11 p.m. I'm kidding, Chelsea. I'm sure you had like wild nights. Rachel worked at the hotel front desk and often had odd hours. She sometimes started her shift at 6 a.m., and since we were both under 21, we weren't allowed to hang out in the bars like the late nighters. Around 4 a.m., I was awoken by super loud music, and not scary, haunting music. It was top 40 pop hit music.
Oh.
Yeah, that's different, right?
Like
and
current
to this time period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so loud and so annoying. I assumed, though, that it was Rachel's alarm. I let it go for a few minutes, and when I was finally awake and super annoyed, I yelled across the tiny room, Rachel, do you need to get up? Turn off your alarm. She sat up and looked at me and said, that's not my alarm. I don't work until tomorrow afternoon. I thought it was yours. Because it was the middle of the night, we didn't think much of it. I stood up, stumbled over to the 2004 edition light pink boombox. I love this part. And flipped the function switch over to the tape and went back to sleep. So, side note, I read this, didn't think twice about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally picture that whole scene.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I have a boombox in my house right now. I don't, but like that's what it felt like. And then it only dawned on me, her next sentence, that I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people out there who do not know what a boombox is. That is so weird.
When you ask young people what's a boombox, they go, that thing that you hold over your head.
Oh my
Say
gosh, from
Anything?
movies. Yeah, no.
I'm sure they don't know what that movie is, but they've seen that
But
image.
they've seen that image. That's so funny to me. Okay. For those young millennials or Gen Zs, yes, I mean cassette tapes. The boombox had a switch that would allow you to switch. And I love she like goes into great detail. And I'm like, that's so funny. You have to give great detail to this because I didn't need any.
Nature.
I didn't need any because I'm old as fuck. The boombox had a switch that would allow you to switch the input between the radio, CD player, or a cassette tape. I can literally picture that little switch. Since you had to press play on the cassette tape to get it to play, the tape selection basically meant the unit was off until you changed it to another function or until you pressed play. The next morning, when we both woke up and gathered our thoughts, we couldn't believe what had happened the night before. We talked through all of the different scenarios and could not figure out what happened. Someone would physically have to flip the switch from tape to CD and press play, or flip it all the way over to radio function to get it to make noise. I honestly don't remember if it was playing a CD or playing the radio that night, as I was half asleep and mostly focused on just getting it to stop. But either way, it was still unexplained.
Okay, so I'm confused. Is that how they just always turn it off, by putting it on tape so they don't know how it got switched?
Right. So when they want it to be off, they just would switch it over to the other function.
Okay. So
Yeah.
somehow it got switched. in
Right.
the
So
night.
they're wondering, like, how did it go
Okay.
from this tape function
Right.
to radio or CD? And if it was CD would have had to have also been pushed to play.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Were
no,
you
no.
too young for?
No,
Okay.
No, I remember.
Right.
But
like
when
those
they
two
said
little
or
things.
press play, I thought press play on a tape is what I thought when she said that.
Well, yeah, maybe
Either way.
CD or cassette tape.
Yeah.
It was probably cassette tape if it was in the 80s. Yeah. So
It was 2004.
I swear I pay attention to my own stories. I'm just going back to my childhood when I had a boombox and it was not a CD yet, because that didn't happen until a little bit later in life. Chelsea's clearly younger. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so that's where they're like, what is it? And then I love this next part because she has been binge watching because she's ready for me, girl. She's like, oh, you skeptics. Let me go ahead and just make sure she's like fortifying this
Okay.
story.
Good. I love
But it's
that.
okay. I'm ready for you, Chelsea. It's fine. Okay. So she says, additionally, the music started at least 6 hours after we went to sleep. Our
Mhm.
door was locked. And before Megan says power surge, the switch
Mhm.
that moves from tape to the other function was not a simple knob. I'm not sure that could explain it. It was similar to a toggle type switch. I love it. She goes into great deal. A toggle type switch with 3 stops on the switch. And it was moved. We would have to have gone to sleep with the music playing for it to continue to be playing later that night, or someone or something switched it. It was also really loud. There's no way we were ever listening to music that loud in the boarding type house. The volume knob had to have been adjusted previously or that night as well. We both call it our ghost encounter to this day, and neither of us have ever been able to explain it or had an experience like that before. Something to note, Rachel's longtime boyfriend at the time also worked on the island that summer. He would often stay in our room past curfew and sometimes overnight. We kind of joke now. I know, right? I'm like, yeah, what was the name of that house? We kind of joke now that the past resident virgins of the home possibly wanted to let us know they disapproved of our frequent visitor. Thanks for reading. I feel like that is a very long description for such a short story.
Oh, no.
Girl, you should have heard last
Yeah, did
week.
you hear last week? Just kidding, Kenton.
We love you, Kenton. So feel free to edit as necessary. Girl, she gives her married name and then her I feel like she really
Does she
wants
have
me
her
to say it.
address? No.
I mean, I won't, but it's Chelsea, and then her married name starts with a sound.
You're so weird.
Well, I gave out her name now with a gut sound at the beginning. So okay. No, I first of all, I love that story because it takes me right back to that time period with that boombox, and that was the source you had for entertainment. You know, now it's like you can literally watch the music video in your hand.
Right.
Back then, I mean, you had to recreate that music video. You had to get up there. You had to, you know. But anyway, so that kind of like just transcended me back to such a fun time, though. But okay, here's my debunking. I want to know, A, was the boyfriend there that night? Because she just
I thought
says
she would have mentioned that.
she just mentions it, whatever. But also, she says their door was locked. I'm a little bit in question about that.
Okay. So now we're
Because-
just doubting facts.
Well, I mean, facts that happened when? How long ago?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just saying, like, your memory can play those little games on you a little bit. So, but also, it still could have been electricity, and here's why. It could have been on radio, and then maybe it, you know how it gets to that quiet part, like when you're tuning and stuff.
Yeah, but not for 6 hours.
It might, and then it might, you know, I don't, you know,
No.
it definitely could have still been some sort of electrical thing that
No.
might have happened.
No, I'm debunking your debunk. That's ridiculous.
You can debunk my debunk all day long. It still doesn't mean that you're right, and it was a ghost that switched over. Now, if I switched over into the like believer realm of things,
Mhm.
here's what I wish. I wish she could have remembered what was playing, like
Okay.
what song. Because if we were to believe that there were actual ghosts out there and they wanted to make contact with us, then why did they choose that particular moment and that particular song to make it play? Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if there was like some sort of message in that song, or
Right.
some like, oh man, if you could have remembered the song was, I don't know why, I just keep thinking Four Non Blondes. Maybe it's because I really wish that's what it was. I loved that song. And
Is that
you're
and I said,
hey,
hey,
yeah, I said, hey. I used to think it was so much like, and I stepped outside, and then she got real high. I can't remember and I get real high. Yeah, I used to love that part. Like, I was like, I'm so badass. I didn't even know what getting high meant. I just knew I was not supposed to do it. But anyway, so that's what I'm thinking. Like, what was the message in whatever song?
What I
if it
wonder,
was a
what
ghost?
if, like, 'cause she said the other girls weren't there. What if that song played for one of them, but they weren't there? And so to them, they were just like, what is all this noise? But if everybody had been there, one of them might have been like,
then you're not a very observant ghost.
I'm sure it takes a lot of energy to to flip a switch. And they were like, it's my one chance. And then they did it. And it got missed.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Okay, so
not all ghosts are genius ghosts.
That little thing, that little part right there, just made me realize, oh, that's right, there are no ghosts. So here's what.
Oh my god!
Here's what happened. It was clearly just some sort of like weird electrical thing that happened with that.
No.
I mean, it could have just been the switch wasn't turned completely over to one side,
and then
so they're listening to the radio.
The ghost barely had to breathe on it. The ghost.
No, the ghost didn't have to breathe because ghosts don't breathe. Even believers know that. Hello, they're dead. Anyway, no, it just was like teetering. It was almost toggled, but not toggled all the way. I love that word, toggle. But anyway, it was just like right there. And then, I don't know, somebody thought they had to pee and they started to get up and they didn't, or whatever. And it got shook a little bit, or it just switched over by accident. And then all of a sudden, very alarming. I mean, any noise that loud in the middle of the night is super alarming. It's like, oh my gosh, what is that? And the next morning, yeah, you're like, I don't know, if you'd had your bearings a little bit more in the middle of the night to sit there and think about what this possibility could have been,
yeah,
then maybe they could have come up with it on their own. But they then went back to sleep, and then the next day it was like, okay, it's got to be a ghost.
Well, all right. I think we're just not ever going to agree on that, because that is a physical switch being turned. I don't care what you say. So.
Turned or just never quite switched.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we're gonna move on. I believe you, Chelsea, because I believe in women.
Just kidding. Wait, whoa, hold on. I don't know at what point this became something about me not believing in women. I didn't believe in Jasons or Kentons or give me another man. I didn't believe in any of them.
Oh,
I don't care if you're a man, a woman, non-binary. I will not believe that it's a ghost. I am equal opportunity when it comes non-believer. Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we're just going to have to move on to my story. How about that?
Okay, let's do it. I bet I won't believe it.
Okay, so here's my story for tonight. I started listening to your podcast after I heard it mentioned on Yeah, That Happened, which is a great little podcast, like a mother-daughter podcast.
Yeah, I've listened to it. It's
I know.
Sweet. It's fun.
I had no idea we were mentioned on it. So that's
so
nice.
That is super nice.
Yeah, y'all should check that out. If you like, that banter type podcast, but really interesting information that happened in history, you should check that out.
Definitely.
I converted to Catholicism later in life, but have had a number of NDEs, which I had to look up, near-death experience. Okay, of course. I've never seen it abbreviated like that, but I don't dive deep into near-death experience, even though I find them fascinating.
Yes, they're definitely fascinating.
but have had a number of NDEs due to health issues. On the most recent occasion, I was rushed to the hospital after flatlining. I was in the ICU and had been gone long enough to suffer the effects of hypoxia, which I looked up because I didn't know what that was. It is low oxygen levels in your blood. Like it's,
Oh,
I would
wow.
imagine this
How
is it.
scary is
I know.
that? Oof.
Very scary. Sorry, guys. There was absolutely nothing there.
Is this person saying there is
Nothing
nothing,
in
in
the
the afterlife? Like just
Yeah.
nothingness.
Right.
Wow, that is fascinating to me because that is the first NDE I've ever heard
With nothing.
with not a white light and a
Right.
da-da-da-da. Huh. Okay. I'm really intrigued.
Okay. So, sorry, guys. There's absolutely nothing there. And I have imagined that what people are seeking in their accounts is just a collection of conscious and subconscious life events.
Wow.
However, I started doing quite a bit of DMT, which I also had to look up is a hallucinogenic drug.
Yeah, I knew about that one.
I mentioned it and you're like, oh yeah, that's a drug. I was like, okay.
I mean, listen, again, going back to that one time when I did never do it. I was
Yeah.
around people that did it. I saw it. I can
Mhm.
tell you what it looks like, but I'm too much of a control freak. I'm like, I will be the person who makes sure everything is okay on this side of things because I wanted to, but I just can't lose control like that.
Yeah. If you were there, I would totally do it.
Who can hook us up with some DMT?
I mean, not now.
Oh, yeah, no, we're going to wait till your kids are out of the house, at least.
Oh, I've got to cut that because it sounds like I'm judging. One particularly strong trip was very different to the ones I'd had before. I swear with every inch of my being, this was the most truth I have ever felt.
Huh. Interesting. While on a hallucinogenic.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
I was transported to another realm entirely. I was shown a photos, which, again, I'm so sorry, MX Cat. I haven't gotten to your name yet, but I had to look up a lot of the stuff in here because I needed help. I looked it up. Apparently, a photos, FOETUS, and a fetus
are
are
the same thing.
Same thing, just like different regions, different areas of the world say it differently or
Wow.
spell it differently.
I said that as if I already knew that, but really I was right here when you were like, I got to look up this word.
It literally said the difference is spelling.
Yeah,
Like-
and that's when you laughed. You're like, that's the only difference. But that's hilarious because if you were just listening to this, they would have been like, damn, Megan was smart. She knew what photo. I was like, just how it's pronounced.
Yeah, no, I would have called you out eventually. Okay, so sorry. I was shown a photos that was being watched over.
Okay.
Is what I can only describe as beings. They were incredibly tall and generally much bigger than humans and wore cloaks with hoods. So imagine
Rosemary's Baby. This is Rosemary's Baby.
I know, it's very scary.
Okay.
So there's like a little fetus, little photos baby
Mm-hmm.
floating,
Okay.
and all these like big hooded beings are watching it. Beings.
Creepy.
Yeah, very creepy.
I mean, does this person describe it as creepy or?
well, let me keep going.
Okay.
They were incredibly tall and generally much bigger than humans and wore cloaks and hoods. But throughout it, I knew I was in the presence of greatness. Here.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and didn't want to look to their faces due to the extraordinary degree of respect I felt.
What?
I know. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I have so many questions. Like, I want this person to be right here at this table so I could keep this conversation going.
I know, but listen to this next part. This part
Okay.
is, it's a little wild.
Okay.
I knew, because they told me without words, that this child would be born in my lifetime, and it would be the person who would come to save this world. It completely blew my mind, and I was, and still prepared to give up everything and go anywhere, giving everything I have, including myself, to this person.
Damn. Was this in Hawaii? Was it Obama?
Oh,
I'm just saying, just a question. 'Cause, I mean, I do that. I'm like,
Michelle. It was probably Michelle.
yeah. When I said Obama, I meant Michelle
Well,
Obama.
Michelle was not born in Hawaii.
Whoops. That showed. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and then it just says, by the way, love the podcast. Keep up the good work.
No.
MX
MX Cat. I've got so
MX
many.
Cat from the UK. Pronouns unnecessary. Use my name freely.
MX Cat. we need you to get a flight over to Louisville, Kentucky. Sit at this table. I'll
Lots of
try not to
questions.
say y'all too much because you're from the UK. But wow, I have got so many questions. Like, I want to sit down and interview this person. Now, here's what I will say. You were on DMT. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, while it maybe felt like the most realist of real. Now, again, I've never ventured into that realm, but I have talked to people that have. You were on some drugs.
Mhm.
I think that's ballsy for throwing it out there and saying that. I mean, that's like, okay, here it is, but it still felt so real to me. So you could try to debunk it all you want, but to me,
Yeah.
it was real, you know?
Yeah. I want to know, how did the hooded creatures somehow tell you how you would recognize this being at some
Yeah,
point?
like what were the, you know, like
What's gonna be your
in biblical, you know, back when I'd read the Bible, I remember it would say things like, you know, there were certain signs that you could look for,
Right.
I mean, Antichrist and also Jesus, you know, like things
Or
that
the
you
second
knew.
coming. Yeah.
The second coming of Jesus, yes. So, yeah, that's really fascinating.
I know. They're ready to give up everything.
Everything. I mean, maybe you don't got much going on. I don't know. Maybe like, you know what? I can travel. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But yeah, that's what I mean. I would like this person to sit here with us so I could ask all of these questions right now.
Right.
We've got a lot of them, so please write back and answer them.
Yeah. Get in depth there. How
Okay.
are you gonna know?
My debunking though is, I'm gonna say, I mean, the first one didn't even need debunking. There was nothing there.
You mean in Chelsea's?
No. Her first story about flatlining, and there was nothing there.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting.
Which is really, like, that is blowing my mind, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody admit that they flatlined and there was not anything there.
I know, it's really weird. And how scary to have flatline for like a long period of time.
So you flatline and there's nothing there, like a nothingness.
I don't know.
I can't even imagine that. Like, I'm stumped right now. And then you come
So that's
back.
like this is like the Rachel test in Friends. So now that you're put to the test of thinking about what it would actually be like, you think there's definitely something.
I don't remember that episode.
No, with the pregnancy scare.
I was like, when did they talk about nothingness? And I was like, I felt like I knew all of the Friends episodes, but now I'm losing it. Okay. No, not necessarily. I'm not saying like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I had never, ever heard somebody verbalize that before.
Yeah.
There's always been something when you see when you hear about an NDE. So I've just never gone there of like, what if it really ultimately is just nothing? And then I guess what I'm having a hard time imagining is a nothingness and then coming back from that nothingness.
Right. I feel like that would change. But then
this same person, then later has a vision that says something's going to happen that's going to change like everything. So so maybe they're not necessarily saying like a savior or like what we would think of in the Bible of like, but then they brought up Catholicism. I need to sit down with a good bottle of wine with MX Cat and talk this out all night long.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Please write back in. We need more information.
I wonder what that would do to your state of mind. Like if you were
when you come back. Right.
Like that's
like hopelessness.
That's my other question. Yeah. Like, or is it like a
freedom?
Like, what did it do to your state of mind? That would be my question to that. But then to the other one, I do want to say, I feel like maybe somewhere a week or two before you did DMT, you watched Rosemary's Baby. Because that sounds like that scene right out of that movie.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my debunking for that.
Yeah, that movie, I saw that when I was too young. At Weird Connection, Sherry Buddy.
I was going to say at Piper's house. They had to have been at Piper's house because you always watch the wrong movie.
Exactly.
Or not wrong, but
the two scary movies
that our parents would never let us.
Yes.
Which were few and far between.
Well, they wouldn't let me watch real scary movies.
They wouldn't let us watch like weird stuff, but then they'd let us watch things that were like highly inappropriate. But then they're like, it was so random, selective. But I
But
kind of get it now as parents. Like, am I tired today? Fine, watch it.
yeah, well, the funny thing is, when we read that story a couple weeks ago about the alpaca farm,
Yeah, love it.
I-
Yes, Sherry.
I read that name and I was like, I feel like we're related to this person. And you were like, we are
You were
definitely not.
I've never heard that
I
name.
was like, I swear I feel like I know this person because I read Sherry and then their last name, which is a little bit more unique.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I feel like I know this person. But then I was like, I guess I don't. I went on. Piper sent me a message that said, you know that Sherry's my mom, right? And I was like, oh my gosh,
so
I've
funny.
spent the night at this woman's house several
That's
times.
hilarious. Like, not only do I know her name.
Yeah, like I was comfortable with her.
She like gave me snacks. And let me watch bad movies.
She let me watch scary movies.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, that story ended up so very interesting. Thank you so much, MX Cat. It's definitely new for
Unlike
us.
anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Both near-death experiences. I don't think we've
Right?
covered too much. I feel like maybe there was one somewhere in there.
Maybe.
Or maybe we just talked about that show.
Yeah.
And then
then the
drug stories. Let's hear more of those. What do y'all dream about when you're hallucinating?
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
But because it was a little quick one, I thought I've got this little side story I didn't really know where to put in
Mhm.
from when I put out feelers on Facebook because we were always trying to harangue some stories in.
Mhm.
Oh, that's not. I don't ever use it right. We're trying to get some stories in. So I joined a group on Facebook called True Ghost Stories and the Paranormal, and I haven't gotten a lot of bites from it, but I did have this one girl named Christine sent in just not an email, just responded on my message.
Uh-huh.
So I asked if I could read it, and they said yes. Okay, so this is from Christine, and it's just titled My Ghost Story. My boyfriend at the time, Dave, and I went to Palm Springs, California to visit his father and 90-year-old grandmother for the weekend. Upon meeting his father, he warned me that if I heard his mother screaming at night, to ignore it.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
That she has night terrors.
Oh.
I shrugged and said, okay. That night, Dave and I went to sleep on a blow-up mattress on the floor in the living room. I woke up with a startle in the middle of the night, hearing whispering of voices. I sat up in bed, rubbed my eyes. Then I see 3 black, tall, foggy silhouettes huddled in the corner of the room, whispering to each other intently. I then grabbed Dave's arm, saying, Dave, what the hell is that? As I am frozen with fear and my heart is pounding. The 3 dark, tall silhouettes seemed as if they heard me, turned towards me, and flew directly at me with such speed. Yeah.
What?
I started screaming and attempted to jump out of the bay window that we were next to.
Oh my gosh.
Dave caught me with his arms and put me down in bed. I was frozen with fear, heart pounding, unable to move or speak. I just laid face down with my head buried in the covers. I stayed in that frozen, paralyzed position until the sun rose.
What did Dave say? Did Dave say, like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, here we go. At sunrise, I was finally able to move and get out of bed. So I like how she's like, I stayed there frozen, did not go to sleep because thank you.
Yeah.
Finally for not going to sleep. It's terrifying.
My flight was there. I tried to take flight and then I couldn't, so I stayed real frozen.
I then spoke to Dave's father and told him that his mother was not having night terrors, but was haunted by demons.
Ooh.
His father looked perplexed and stated, I thought you guys were just having rough sex.
Oh, shit. Well, that's a little embarrassing. Oh my gosh, she's like, if only. I would have been way better. Yeah.
I said, no, I'm serious. I thought they wanted to kill me. I then changed my flight to go home to New Jersey to the next day and never saw Dave or his family again.
That's hilarious.
Like, peace.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm out.
You're not worth it, Dave.
Oh my gosh. Well, also because it doesn't really say that what Dave's reaction was.
Right.
Like, did he say, baby, what's wrong? What is going on, honey? Like, why? Why are you trying
to get in bed?
Yeah,
I picture Dave as a jerk.
Yeah. Good for you. Get away from Dave.
It says, I always wondered if they took me seriously and got help for his poor grandmother to get rid of those tormenting her. And so I wrote back, saying, oh my gosh, that is incredibly scary.
Right.
But since it wasn't an email, I just wanted to double check. I do want to read this on the podcast. And she wrote back, yes, you can say it on your podcast. It was truly traumatic. I told a priest that I have known for over 30 years, and he said that there are good spirits and demons. Demons that want to drive people insane or kill them, making them jump out windows to look like suicide, and he is a Roman Catholic priest. They
Wow.
really believe in exorcism, demons, etc.
Wow.
Isn't that
Okay.
interesting?
It is. Here's where my pause lays, is that I feel like mental health issues have been blamed on demons
Okay,
for a long time.
right.
And so that's where I'm like, okay, there's also no, I'm gonna say there are mental health issues that deserve attention and care and credit.
Okay.
And so whenever I kind of get into that religious mode of explaining the way by a demon, that kind of gets my like awareness up of like,
Yeah, I understand that.
let's not say it's a demon. Let's listen to what's really happening to this person and
Right.
get this person the care that they need.
But it also doesn't mean that it couldn't be something leading you to do
If
like
demons
her,
were real or
but
are
her
real.
reaction, Christine's reaction was to get out so fast she almost jumped out the window.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that the grandmother is sitting there probably saying, these are not just night terrors. This is something like I am scared to death.
Right.
And then
And they're
it's
not
collaborated.
Okay, in a weird way, it's kind of my point, and I it's kind of not. Like my point is that if the grandmother is having like these horrible night terrors, I feel like night terrors kind of fall under the realm of mental health.
Maybe.
So don't just discredit her and not get her any help for that.
Right. That should just go. If anybody's struggling and reaching out for help,
Mhm.
believe them. And
Yes, believe them.
maybe it's
whether
demons, maybe it's
right, whatever it is, then let's look into that and see how we can help that person out. Just go, oh, don't react when you hear
Right.
blood curdling screaming in the middle of the night. That's just Nana. She's had night terrors her whole life. Well, poor Nana. Let's
Right.
put a little more empathy into that and find out what we can do to help Nana.
Right.
But also, it just does make me think like, if I was in that situation, you're in a brand new place. So you're already kind of meeting the family for the first time, so you have a lot of anxiety, and then you get kind of thrown this weird curveball of you might hear like something terrifying in the middle of the night. Just disregard it. I feel like at that point you're already on guard and you're scared of like, what if I hear that in the night? Would that fear manifest into something? Like, did you already think before you even went to sleep, what if Nana is scared of something real? So you kind of have that thought process that leads you to this terrifying dream. I mean, it sounds like a terrifying dream, but it did happen at night. It did happen while she was kind of sleeping. So it could have easily been a dream. And dreams can make people do crazy things like sleepwalking or, what. I got punched in the face one night because my husband was dreaming. And then he was like, I did what? And I was like, yes. No, it wasn't the face. I think it was the arm. But it was, I remember like, why would you do that to me? And he was like, I was fighting off something in his dream. He's a very vivid dreamer. He also one night woke up talking. He talks a lot in his sleep, which is typically hilarious, and waking him up because his alarm was going off. And he said, woman. I was like, what are you? Yes. And he was like, if you don't stop. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm doing you a favor so you don't get late to work. He's like, if you don't stop, I'm going to row this wash tub around like a pirate. And that was his threat to me. And for some reason in his dream, he was in a wash tub and he was like rowing it around like a boat. So very bizarre. And I was like, okay, get up and go to work. And like when he finally came to, he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I couldn't even make that up if I tried. You just said that. It was so bizarre. So I just think the subconscious and all of that, it sounds like she might have had some anxiety. So it could have just been a dream. And then afterwards, I could see how you would connect those dots though, for sure.
Yeah.
Either way, I would say she had a night terror that night, and that would be an interesting study. Like if you hear about night terrors, if you have anxiety, how closely related are those two?
Yeah, I don't know.
Either
very
way,
scary.
It sounds scary as shit.
Very scary. Ugh, I don't like it at all. Okay, well, let's move on to our fan favorite.
All right.
Okay, so this week our fan favorite is Sarah, who is a neighbor of ours.
Our next door neighbor. I mean, she's like kind of like
Catty corner.
She's catty corner. I can see her backyard from my backyard.
That's right. Our kids play together all the time, and she became one of our joined our fan group.
This is how it happened. First, she joined a fan group, and then she requested my Facebook friend. I was like, okay, I guess she found us on, because we've been neighbors for forever. And then I was like, wait a second. She joined the fan group first.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how did she find out about our podcast? And I totally thought it was your middle daughter, because she loves to talk about us. So I thought she went over there and spread the word. But turns out she found out from us in the Leo.
I know, that's so cool.
Yeah, our article, our faces were on there, and she's like, I felt starstruck.
Oh, that's so silly.
I know, I'm like, don't. I mean,
yeah.
And by the way, Sarah, come over and drink with us anytime.
Absolutely.
She sees us sitting outside, like, come on, girl.
Yeah.
We've invited you. I don't know what you're waiting for. Come on over.
We're ready. Come on. Okay, so I reached out and said, you're our fan favorite. And she said, oh, wow, I wish I had a good story to contribute. But that's not what it's about. It's just about, we want your stories. But if you don't have one, you're listening, you're supporting us, and that's why you're a fan favorite.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. Really just your presence and your kindness. And she's been very supportive. She'll post stuff on Facebook and whatnot. And
she sent you a message last week.
Yeah, and she actually says she doesn't have a story to contribute, but she kind of does. So she and I had a little back and forth on Facebook Messenger one day. She said, I don't have a good story to share for your amazing podcast. Just a ridiculous fact. We moved into our home exactly 3 years ago today. We have an attic, and I have yet to look into it or even open because I'm too scared. Ridiculous. And I'm like, no, it's not at all. I get that for sure. And in fact, I was like, girl, I have lived in some places with creepy places that I've never gone into. So don't worry. But then she said, I feel like an episode devoted to sleep paralysis may be warranted. Lifelong sufferer here.
Oh.
Right. So she and I go back and forth about some sleep paralysis. I said, well, that's crazy. I've only had one. Yeah. But it's such a wild experience if you've ever had it. I mean, it does feel like something paranormal.
Yeah.
So anyway, she said, no, it's not. It's been scientifically proven that it's not. But anyway, she said, really only once, because I told her I only had it once. She said, happened a lot as a teen and young adult. Then found out my dad had it as well. It must be hereditary. More recently, I haven't experienced it so much. I've always been fascinated by the phenomenon of sleep paralysis and bet it is a lot more common than documented. And I would agree with that. I bet there's a lot of that. And so she's had some experiences, whether she thinks they're paranormal or not. I don't think she does. She thinks of them as sleep paralysis, but yeah. I'm sure there's a group of people out there that think sleep paralysis is paranormal.
I would love to have a sleep paralysis episode because
for sure
they're so interesting.
Has it ever happened to you?
They're so scary. I have had the feeling one time where I I could move my body, but nothing scary happened. I was just like, oh, this is weird. And I knew your story, and I remember thinking about your story.
You're welcome. Thanks.
That's almost proof to me though that they're not the same thing because not yours, but I'm saying nothing. I didn't see any weird, scary thing, and a lot of people
didn't either.
Exactly. So we had sleep paralysis. Some people have sleep paralysis plus.
No, but I thought something really horrible was happening.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna move on back to this.
Okay.
So when I asked her if she had anything she wanted me to promote, she said, if it's appropriate, could you please mention that I have 2 beautiful kittens I'm fostering through the Humane Society that need to be adopted in a couple weeks. A calico girl and a gray and white boy. They are so sweet. All shots will be spayed, are litter trained. Hello, ready to go.
Yeah.
Maybe getting the exposure will help them find a good forever home. I'd love them to be adopted together if possible. Thanks, Erin. I feel truly honored. She gives her phone number here, but I'm just going to say if you all are interested in these beautiful kittens and want to...
Yeah, reach out to us.
Reach out to us, but maybe put the subject line foster cats so that we read it immediately.
Yeah, because we'll bank our stories. So
right.
Definitely send us an email or a Facebook message. So we're not going to take them on because we're not fans of cats. And then let's get these kittens taken care of.
Exactly. So she says, keep up the awesome podcast. It's always such a treat.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a really quick, like that's such a good little plug. So I'm like, we could see the actual
I know. Wouldn't that be fun?
benefits of like getting to see one of our
And then
listeners.
they name them Aaron and Megan.
Oh my gosh. No, that would be hilarious. Please don't do that. That'd be the weirdest
Name
thing.
them believer and non-believer.
No, name them Scully
Indy.
and Moeller.
Scully and Mulder.
Mulder.
Oh my gosh. Do that.
Look, those two guys would be so cute together.
There's even a boy and a girl.
It's so perfect. We're gonna get these kittens taken care of. I mean, shit. If I have to take one, I mean those are pretty cute names.
I know, it is pretty cute.
No. I'm not committing to that. Somebody else get these kittens who likes cats because I would just have to endure them. You all would love them.
Yeah, you'd probably end up loving them, but okay.
Probably, but no.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you to all of our listeners. If you could rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, we really appreciate it. If you just tell your friends about it, we really, really want to get our name out there so we can get more people to listen. It's a lot of fun, and we want to keep doing this. We have a live event on June 17th in Oldham County at Third Turn. It's a free event to get in. Donations are accepted, and we'll be selling our stickers for $4. If you want to join us on Patreon, I will put a link in the notes. And we've been having so much fun on there. It's so great. We usually watch a movie for the $5 tier on the third Thursday, but because of our live event, it will be on the second Thursday this next month. And we're on Instagram and Facebook, so find us there.
I mean, girl, that was so professional.
Thank you.
I was like, I wanted to like interject several times. Like, she sounds so damn professional in this moment. I am not gonna. Are you just like? I mean, she's not even reading a script. That sounded scripted, but you were not. Okay, but I also just wanted to say this. I had this thought. Aaron and I constantly keep joining Facebook groups or different groups. Like I literally got back into our neighborhood app to try to find more stories. So if you know of like a gold mine of like, okay, I am a part of this group and they're constantly telling ghost stories.
Yeah.
Please shout that out to us. Like, let us know, where can we find more listener stories? Because that's really where this podcast is,
Yeah,
we need those stories. So without them, I don't think we'll stop. We'll just have to rethink of a new. We're
going to research
actual ghost stories.
Please don't make us research.
But I really, besides like joking about not wanting to research, listener stories to me are so much more intimate.
I know, they're always my favorite.
Yeah, I want to hear from real people, not just like, this group of experts walked into this place and here's what they found, X, Y, and Z. I can debunk that all day long. Listener stories, they make it hard for me. So I like that.
Yeah. So please, if you've got,
if you're out there, and you're like, I haven't sent it in yet, I haven't gone around it. Listen, it's summer. What else you got going on?
Because all of our listeners are teachers.
They're all teachers or students. Listen, just send them in. Pretend like you're working at work. Send them in.
Right. Or tell your friend who has a really great story to send it in.
Or write their story in and say, okay, it's not first person, but...
Or just claim it. We'll never know.
We will never know.
All right. Oh, geez.
Poke, you owe me a Coke.
Pinch
or a
poke.
beer.
All right.
Wait,
I do owe you.
You say Jinx Pinch?
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
Jinx Poke, you owe me a Coke. What do you say? Say it.
All right, we're going to end this.
So what do you say?
Pinch poke, you owe me a Coke.
You don't say Jinx? Where do you throw Jinx in?
I say Jinx when it happens, and then afterwards.
Say it like we just said it.
Okay. Jinx, pinch poke, owe me a Coke.
Oh, Lord, that's a whole extra word.
I'm all.
Jinx,
Yes,
Poke,
exactly.
owe me a Coke.
Okay, we're going to end this. Goodbye. We thank you guys so much for listening. And
La 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 la.
That really is.
oh, sorry.
It was so big. It was like a bullfrog. You and me going fishing in the dark.
I say just read through it.
My shirt is see-through. Is that going to really throw you off?
Yes, I'm very distracted.
It'd be really weird if you were. But that's why I wore that sweater. And now I'm like, oh, I'm a little hot. Okay. Maybe it's a mashup of my intrigue of history and love of true crime. I just made that up. That's not at all what she wrote. Let me try that again.
Okay. the grandmother was having these night terrors, or so everybody was saying, and this 90-year-old woman is probably saying, "No, they're not night."
Nothing about that story is funny. Aaron's dog just
Definitely.
puked so loud behind me, like
Right behind you.
Gosh.
What was it? Right on all the school stuff.
Oh no! Why would you pick there, Ellie? Gosh. Well,
It's
look,
fine.
it does kind of look like a plastic bag.
It is. It's easily cleanable, and it's the last week of school, so who gives a fuck?
Clearly not Aaron and not Ellie.